And I had Don on panel for a little bit, just basically kicking the shit as I always have for years. um, you know, and somebody didn't like that, and that would have been Candus Bly. And she didn't like that, but I need to tell y'all what's really happening with Candus Bly before I tell y'all why she got in her feelings that Don was on my panel. And I have told you a little bit about it, but you don't know in the extent. And I'm calling on Diamond Creations, and I'm calling on Miss Daisy, and I'm calling on a lot of channels that have supported Candus to listen to what I'm saying, as if y'all don't really know. Y'all know what's going on as well, but you let me just tell the people, and we're gonna let them decide. So Candus. So recently, I have said to people that Candus lost one of her friends, right? And she got into an argument with Don, right? And she was staying with somebody. She was staying with somebody that she always cared about. That was her best friend, Dee Dee. That was one of my moderators. Okay? The truth of the matter is, people, and then you saw Candus in all these weird chats and stuff having bad behavior. You saw Candus kind of flip out on me and shit on me. But the truth of the matter is, there is no justification of her behavior. There is no, oh, she lost a friend, so this is why she's acting out. Because the truth of the matter is, Candus Bly, Candus has moved in, and now she's living with her best friend who she just lost. She's defying and betraying her best friend by being with her man. This is a fact. This is a fact. And also, she's shitting all over Don. Look, if they have issues, it is what it is, but you don't just move in. People, that is disgusting and disturbing behavior. And that is a fact, and that is what's happening. And I'm not gonna, it's all coming out. Because I had Don on my panel like I have for years, man. There ain't nothing wrong with Don coming up on panel. You know why? At least he talks about Summer Wells. At least he's answering questions in chat about Summer Wells. But Candus has this moron rap. The guy has a conviction of, he just got convicted of rape. He's on parole. The guy Rap is calling, why is the guy Rap calling Don? Because he came on my panel. Dude, Rap, you're on parole. You have parodies coming. I'm going to call your parole officer and clown you. For doing that, because you're not allowed to threaten people. So we'll play the recording of you We're gonna have a field day with you. You're a rapist anyhow. But this is the type of, Candus is acting weird. Who moves? Let me just say that again for the people in the back. Candus got mad with Don Wells, left Ben Hill Road to go to Dee Dee's house, who was one of my old moderators. And she's now with, Dee Dee died. Dee Dee died. And she's now with the man. Like, that's about as white trash as it gets. And Candus has been on all these weirdos panels and stuff like that, which is fine. She's allowed to do and say what she wants. It's none of my business, but she's never talking about Summer. Ever. Ever. And what's the track record? Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. Don goes to jail. She's flirting. Everyone knows she's flirted like hell with Benny Keys and Ernie Show. You're lying if you honestly say otherwise to that. Right? And I mean, the lady's not even, the lady hasn't been even lowered into her casket and under the ground before Candus is laying up in bed with him. That is like as white trash as it gets. But you're mad that Don is on my panel. At least he's speaking about his missing daughter. We never get that from you. We never get that from you, Candus. But how dare you? How dare you have a convicted rapist? You just picked the greatest friends. you can't even make this shit up, people. You have a convicted rapist called Don, who's on active parole. Call and threaten Don. And go ahead and tell a lie. Like when Don was just not on my panel, you weren't texting Noelle saying, what the F is this? Lady, if you're with your dead bestie's husband, then go live that life. What are you worried about what Don does? We don't get nothing from Summer out of you ever. Ever. But what are you worried about what Don does when you're with the next man? Why are you saying we're coming for you? Why do you think that you've made some like weird allegiance with all these retard weirdo YouTubers? None of this matters. None of this is cool. None of this is relevant. And none of this has anything to do with your daughter missing. You never speak about your daughter. Were you mad that Don was speaking about the missing daughter on my channel? Is that what you were mad about? No, what you're mad about, Candus, is you're all of 40 years old. You're all of 40 years old. You want to be the one that can go on all these weirdo channels. You want to go on all these weirdo channels and never speak about Summer Wells. And you want to dictate from the bedroom of your dead best friend, who's not even lowered into the ground yet, before you spread your legs to him. You want to dictate what Don can't do, and what you're not gonna do. I'm gonna have his back through all this. I'm gonna have his back through all this. You're acting like a weirdo. You're acting like a weirdo. Everybody sees it. Okay? And what you're not going to do is have these weirdo, stupid YouTubers going and attacking Don. No, not as long as I have a microphone. That's not going to happen. You did these weird games in the past. The pattern always continues. Why is the pattern? I've noticed the pattern. The pattern is when you get into it with Don, whether he goes to jail, whatever, you utilize weirdo YouTubers, and it's weird. But there's receipts in all of this, and you haven't thought this one all the way through. And what's going to happen is you've already lost any friendship with me. Don't call me and apologize to me, because I knew Dee Dee. She was a mod of this channel. She would not approve of what you're doing. People, her and this guy Fred were saying that they haven't got the death certificate yet. People, how long does it take to get a death certificate? When my little brother died, I needed a death certificate to submit to my work for bereavement pay, and I had one within 48 hours. She keeps trying to tell Don, like, oh, she's gonna come home when they get and even the guy Fred, like, this is all weird white trash, weird shit, and you're trying to make Don the bad man. So let's just look at this from a normal lens, because you're hitting the alcohol like a motherfucker and you have all these weird people in your ear. But let's look at this from a normal lens. When you are going through it with a significant other, if you are moving on or you found a fling or you just spreading your legs wide open, whatever it is, normally then you go do that, right? You go do that. So I'll put it back on me. Like when I was going from ex to Noelle, like I wasn't calling my ex. Like I was with Noelle all the way. I wasn't worried about what my ex was doing, because if I was, guess what? I'd be wrong to both Noelle and my ex, because I would be wrong. I'd be trying Noelle by sideways telling her I'm 100% into her, right? Why do I care what my ex does? That means I'm not over my ex. If I'm doing, Candus, you're not like, I'm starting to think that you and Ziggy have the same IQ points, like tree bark. Like you haven't thought this through, but what you're not gonna do is threaten Don or any of this with your little internet friends. You know what you should do? You should make 1 million internet friends, and you should talk about Summer Wells every second of the day on all of their channels. That's what you should do. You shouldn't say, I'm coming after you, Don, or you shouldn't get a rapist to contact your husband and say that he's coming after him, because at that point, all Don should have to worry about is his hiney hole. He doesn't want Rap to pork his hiney hole, because we know that Rap is a rapist. But what you shouldn't worry about any of all that stuff. And what you should talk about is Summer Wells every second of the day until the wheels fall off. You should be talking about Summer Wells, Summer Wells, Summer Wells, Summer Wells, because all of the weird internet behavior that you're doing, nobody can blame it on your friend dying anymore. That is down the toilet, because you're now fucking that same friend's husband. That makes you weird. My mod, that man's wife, would puke if she heard the words coming out of my mouth right now. It's disgusting. You're more worried about who you're going to be with and what your image looks like on YouTube than you are worried about your missing daughter being found. It's comical to hear you apologize to me for no reason. I was upset with you when I found out you were going into these chats because of what these people have said about your family and your daughter and what they've done to halter the case. I'm not upset because you're in their chats. Go to everyone's chats and talk about Summer every day. But it's like a bad, it makes you look bad. You're doing all this weird shit on the internet, but you're not talking about Summer. And you've literally, you moved into your, Dee Dee would hate it. Dee Dee always talked about Summer Wells. Dee Dee had a decal on the back of her car that she paid with her disability money. She brought Summer everywhere she went. But you've moved in, and now you're with her husband. And Fred, you're like a, what type of man are you? You're a man that owes me $200, just so you know, and I will get that money. But you're a special type of fuckboy. Like, I wouldn't even believe, I could not tell you guys what I would do if I lost Noelle tomorrow. I don't want to think about that. I don't want to talk about that. Very weird, man. Very, very weird. It's very weird. And I went on a rant just then, but the reality is I just went live. And And you can watch it. Don has to leave. And why are you calling the guy like 6 times when I'm live with him? Why are you interrupting him answer people's questions about locating Summer? You called 6 times when we were live. I'm allowed to talk to Don. You ain't going to get in the middle of that. You ain't going to stop that. You are acting weird. Nobody else is. You're not going to threaten people from coming on my panel. I don't care if it's Don Wells, a moderator of mine, a guest of mine. Ain't nobody going to come on my panel and then have people threat. That's just not going to happen. Like, you know, it's crazy how, and in your weird head, like in your weird head, you're trying to make Don look and seem like a bad man. Look, y'all got into an argument. Who gives a fuck? Get over it. But in all reality, you're living with your dead best friend's man. And then you're sending a man who's been convicted of rape. Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Your husband is on my panel talking about his missing daughter. You can't make it make sense. And the only ones that it's making sense to are people who are appeasing you to use you. To use you. And that's what you're going to be left with. Because I guarantee you don't think people like Miss Daisy are livid with you right now? Because you're entertaining people who shit all over Miss Christine and all that. You had people who genuinely cared about you, but you're going to be left with people who use you and abuse you. And everything that you claim to be running from, that's what you're going to be left with. Because this is turned into the Candus show. It's the Candus show. And it should be the Summer show. I don't know why you don't get that part. It's not about Don. Candus shouldn't be the star. It should always be Summer. And how dare you get mad about him answering some simple questions? How dare you have some weenie boy who's been convicted of rape? He can't even be on the internet. People, I'll be calling his parole officer ASAP. But ain't nobody gonna threaten Don. For what? Could you imagine? Like, let me tell y'all how the call goes. You have the guy who's 3'0" rap. Oh, he calls. Oh, Don, you're he calls Don a chomo. Don says, "Well, I'm not convicted of it. You are." Like imagine that. But it's all stupid. It's all stupid. And Candus, you're a homewrecker, bro. Nobody wants that around. I was just live. I didn't plan on doing this, but yeah, it's a fact. Candus texts Noelle. She's big mad. Candus texts Noelle, "What the F?" Like we were doing anything wrong. And then, like, I'm not even going to say nothing because Candus is a dumbass. She's just not a smart person. You have the wrong people, and unfortunately, you're not. I'm not here to give you the game. All you're going to do is expose yourself. That's all you're going to do, is expose yourself throughout this. And as you should. Because we don't hear nothing about Summer Wells. Nothing. Where's your people, right? Where's your people coming for me? I laugh at those YouTubers. None of them care about Summer Wells. This is like this is all retarded. This is all very white trash retarded. Sorry guys, I'll take some comments. But you know what? I'm gonna let it all out. I'm gonna let it all out tonight because I'm just tired of it, man. I'm tired of it. I'm not gonna defend it. It's very white trash, and And let me be very clear. I'm speaking directly about Candus Bly. Don chills. He goes to church. And then you have Candus that gets jealous of Don at church with Robin. I mean, let's keep it a buck. See, these weirdos, they can't do that, Candus. So, what I'm not going to allow is all these lies. I'm not going to allow all these lies. I will show patterns, I will show receipts, and I will show behavior. All you have is rapists, people that spread rumors and never have receipts. And that's the difference. You didn't think this one through. But what you should be doing is speaking about summer, showing receipts on summer, awareness campaigns about summer. Every single time we see you on the internet, we never hear about summer. And here you are getting mad. Why? What in God's name made you mad about anything the man said on my panel? There's people that are in my chat right now that were in that same live that are scratching their heads like, what the fuck would she be mad about? Because he didn't say anything to make anybody mad. It's just wild, bro. And I'm tired of it. Why are you so jealous, Candus? Daughter, Candus, if you would straighten up, people would be in your corner. Why are you not talking about her? It's a good question, man. This has been going on for like a week or so, y'all, and no, it's been going on for longer than that. And listen, man, it wasn't too long ago I make a live just like this where I'm in the car myself, and she sold us out. She calls and apologizes. All that's cool and all that. I don't really care about who in whose chat. I don't care about that shit, man. But what's not cool is like I'm starting to see like some shit in you, and it's really weird, man. You're showing me like vindictive behavior is what you're showing me. Vindictive behavior. You're showing me vindictive behavior, and what you're portraying. See, what you're portraying and what you're showing and doing, it's all different. And I'm a motherfucker that can take and show people things. You can't. You'll have some other YouTubers try to do it. Nobody even watches these people, and nobody cares about these people. And they don't talk about summer, everything else. But you're getting used. I'm gonna stop saying that. I don't even want to help you. I want it to burn when you figure it out. I want you to look at this and be like, why? What? I can't speak for you. I can't speak for you, and this is the divorce, man. Because Dee Dee would not be down with what you're doing. Dee Dee would not be down with what you're doing. Talking about you and Fred. You're moving in with Fred. Talking about he's got 2 houses and all this shit. Hey, man. Let the internet meet Fred. Let the internet meet Fred. Now that you're with him, let them dox him. Let them go through all his family. Let the internet meet Fred. Weird, man. Yeah, it's weird. And I'm not gonna sit on it, man. I'm gonna stay true to myself, man. I'm gonna stay real to myself. I'm not gonna defend nothing, no shit that. Listen, man, I'm not with that. You know why I'm not with that? Because My wife would never do no shit like that to me if I passed. And I would never do no shit like that to her if she passed. Hell's nah. Hell's nah. Hell's nah. I'd be so afraid of her ghost or some shit coming back to kill me if I did that. But I wouldn't do that anyhow. Because I love it. Wouldn't matter. Eat it. She's gonna try to break me away from Don. And I ain't never did nothing to Don. I've always showed him respect. I ain't never lie on him. But, oh, you can bet your ass that's her next step. Because you're easy to figure out. You're easy to figure out. It's just weird, man. And I'm not with it. And I'm coming up on here to say all that because I don't like what she's doing to her husband anyhow. And it's just weird to me that I got her husband on my panel speaking about her missing daughter. I should get a fucking thank you, actually. But instead, you're worried about sending some rapist to... Riddle me this. How's a rapist, a convicted rapist on parole, gonna take the man's house that he owns? Look, that's how stupid you are. You think that rap is relevant and cool and people fear him. Like dirt to dirt. It's wild. It's wild. And all these other weirdos. You should talk about Summer. You shouldn't, you know what you shouldn't do, Candus? You shouldn't get jealous that Tim Mullins made a post on a fucking Facebook group that he has that's named Find Summer Wells. And because he made a post before that you did, you don't get mad at Tim Mullins. You thank him. It's not Tim Mullins' problem that you didn't remember your fucking daughter's birthday. Or you didn't beat him to it. But instead, you get jealous and mad at Tim Mullins, make a fight with Don, because Tim Mullins, who runs a page dedicated to your fucking daughter, beats you to the happy birthday post. Who gives a shit about that? Thank him for doing it. Thank him for continuously thinking about her. Thank him for the years of awareness that he's done for her. But no, you get mad. You get salty. You get bitter. You get jealous because you didn't do it first. That's a Candus problem. Anybody else looking at that issue is gonna agree with everything I just said firsthand. They're not gonna lie on your side. You get jealous. You have some issues, man. You have some issues. But what you're not gonna do is play these 1980 games on White Boy. It's just not gonna, they're not gonna work. I'm bulletproof on that shit. I'm way more hip into the streets and way more street smart than you will ever be, and you should be thankful for that. This shit that you do, it's not gonna work on me. And I'm gonna help your husband for and all. Was she talking about Summer? I bet you she wasn't. So what the fuck do I care about that? Oh, so so she was. So you're telling me that Cher, the lady who just ran a brand new scam in Summer's name, made her a mod? Great. I don't care about that. It's not me. I don't look stupid. She does. You see Don, he don't go on panels all this time. I don't have him on my shit every week. He comes on once a blue moon because he knows this internet shit is. But Candace will she was like big mad that he got on my live. Big mad. But she can do and go on whatever lives she wants to do and go on and go be a mod for. Make it make sense. But wait a minute. We're to believe that he's controlling. We're to believe, stop it. Stop it. Somebody left a good comment. It said, a scared woman doesn't break down a door and yell at a man that she's afraid of.